Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going deep, really deep into the life of a saint who, frankly, sounds like he could have his own action movie.
Oh, I agree completely.
Saint Gaspar del Bufalo, a 19th century Italian priest.
Wow.
And our source material, a transcript from a YouTube video by the Bob and Penny Lord Ministry.
Okay.
It's amazing. Intrigue, Napoleon, bandits, miracles, the works.
You really can't make this stuff up.
So get ready to uncover the incredible story of Saint Gaspar, his unwavering faith, and the impact he had not only on people, but on the church itself.
It's going to be fascinating, I think, especially considering what was going on in Europe during his lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, think about it. The French Revolution, Napoleon's rise to power.
Huge upheaval.
Talk about a test of faith.
No kidding. Okay, so the transcript starts with his birth in Rome, January 6th, 1786.
Stephanie.
Exactly, Epiphany. And get this, his parents named him after, wait for it, the three wise men.
No way.
Yes, Gaspar, Melchior, and Balthazar.
Wow, that's amazing.
Like destiny had plans for him right from the start, right?
It certainly seems that way.
And his upbringing, well, let's just say it was unique.
How so?
His father was a cook for a prominent family.
Okay.
At the Altieri Palace, right across the street from the Church of St. Ignatius Loyola.
You're kidding. So literally growing up in the shadow of one of the most influential figures in Catholic history.
Exactly. What an environment to be raised in, right?
Absolutely.
Now, the transcript also emphasizes the role of his mother, Annunziata, in his spiritual development. She was apparently the one who instilled in him this deep love for Jesus, for Mary, and for the saints.
It makes you wonder how different his path might have been without her.
Oh, I know, right? The power of a mother's influence.
It's incredible. And speaking of powerful, have you heard the story about Gaspar's childhood healing?
No, tell me more.
Okay, so picture this. He's suffering from this incurable eye disease, and he's going blind.
Oh, awful.
It was terrible. But his mother, Annunziata, this woman of immense faith, she prays fervently to St. Francis Xavier for his recovery. He's completely cured.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Wow. That's amazing.
Miraculous. Right. And of course, his mother saw it as a testament to the power of prayer.
I could only imagine.
And she shared this story throughout his entire life.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the impact that would have had on Gaspar?
It must have shaped his entire worldview.
Absolutely. I mean, talk about divine intervention.
So it's no surprise, really, that he entered the seminary at 12.
Yeah, 11 years at the Collegio Romano preparing for the priesthood.
And all this while Napoleon's out there conquering Europe.
It's crazy to think about.
It adds a whole other layer to his story, doesn't it?
For sure.
Okay, so a year after his ordination, 1808, Napoleon takes over Italy.
Oh.
And he demands that all priests swear an oath of allegiance to him.
Oh, wow.
This is where things get interesting.
I bet. What happened?
Gaspar, this young, passionate priest, he's brought before the French authorities.
Oh, boy.
And he flat out refuses.
What? Seriously?
He says, and this is a direct quote, "I cannot, I must not, I will not."
Whoa. Talk about standing up for your faith.
Right. Incredible courage. But of course, defying Napoleon. That had consequences.
I can only imagine.
Exile and imprisonment.
Oh, no.
The transcript talks about the terrible conditions he endured in those prisons in northern Italy.
Wow, that's hard to even think about. How did he get through that?
Well, the transcript suggests he found strength in prayer.
Of course.
And also in the companionship of other priests who would also refuse the oath.
Oh, that makes sense. Strength in numbers.
Right. Even in prison, that sense of community, that shared purpose, it must have been a lifeline.
Absolutely. Human connection is so powerful, especially in times of hardship.
For sure. And then there's this other intriguing detail from this period, the prophecy of Sister Agnes.
The prophecy. Tell me about it.
So she predicted the founding of a religious community dedicated to the precious blood of Christ.
Interesting.
And she specifically named Gaspar as its founder.
Wow. Talk about destiny calling.
And this prophecy, it was circulating while he was in prison.
Really? So he knew about it.
It seems likely. And think about that. Even while suffering, he has this knowledge that he might be destined for something greater.
That must have given him a sense of hope.
I would think so. Okay, so 1814, Napoleon's reign ends.
Finally.
Gaspar's released from prison.
Freedom. What did he do?
He wasted no time. He immediately set about establishing the Congregation of the Precious Blood.
The one from the prophecy.
The one and only. Dedicated to spreading devotion to the blood of Christ.
Amazing.
And get this, he secured an abandoned monastery, San Felice, as their mother house.
Wow. From prisoner to leader of a religious order.
Talk about a turnaround. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, you know.
I figured as much. What kind of challenges did he face?
Well, the transcript mentions financial struggles, resistance from the local authorities.
Oh, I bet.
Even pushback from within the church itself.
You're kidding. The church gave him trouble.
It seems like it.
Wow, talk about obstacles.
Obstacles at every turn. But Gaspar, he persevered.
What kept him going?
That unwavering faith of his.
Of course.
And that prophetic vision. He truly believed in his mission.
I admire his dedication.
And he was relentless. He traveled all over Italy.
Really? Where did he go?
Preaching to huge crowds.
Like a rock star?
Well, more like a spiritual rock star, I guess.
Right. So what was his preaching style like?
The transcript describes it as populist.
Populist, meaning?
He had this knack for connecting with people from all walks of life.
He must have been a gifted speaker.
It sounds like it. And then, of course, there are the stories of miracles.
Miracles, now we're talking.
The transcript mentions a bunch of them, calming storms, preaching in multiple languages.
Wow.
Even his voice reaching thousands of people in these vast open fields.
No way. That's incredible.
It's like something out of a movie.
It really is. But what struck you most about these stories?
It's the fact that he never took credit for any of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's humbling.
He always said it was God's power working through him.
But for the people who saw these miracles, it must have been like witnessing something truly divine.
Absolutely. Okay, are you ready for the most amazing part?
Hit me with it.
His work with bandits.
Bandits, like actual outlaws.
The real deal. He would go into these bandit-ridden areas.
That's danger.
Risking his life.
Seriously. Why would he do that?
To bring peace and reconciliation.
Wow. That's unbelievably courageous.
It is. It makes you wonder what motivated him to take such risks.
What do you think it was?
Well, the transcript emphasizes his belief in redemption.
Redemption for anyone.
Exactly. He saw the good in everyone, even hardened criminals.
That's incredible.
And he was willing to put himself in harm's way to spread the gospel.
And to offer forgiveness.
Right. Talk about faith in action.
Powerful stuff. But of course, not everyone was happy with his success, right?
Sadly, no. There was a lot of pushback.
I figured. From who?
The transcript mentions political maneuvering, false accusations.
Oh, haters gonna hate.
And even censure from within the church itself.
No way. He got in trouble with the church.
He did. Seems like every step forward there was some kind of backlash.
Sounds rough.
It was. But he kept going. He defended his congregation.
Good for him.
And eventually earned the trust of three successive popes.
That's impressive.
Right. Talk about resilience. What do you think we can learn from his unwavering commitment?
Well, I think it speaks to the power of holding on to your convictions, even when it would have been easier to just give in. Like he could have sworn that oath to Napoleon, right? He could have lived a comfortable life.
But he didn't.
Exactly. He stayed true to his beliefs, even when it meant hardship and suffering. It's a powerful message, I think.
It really is.
Especially today.
Yeah, when it's so easy to just go with the flow.
Exactly. So Gaspar reminds us what it means to have true faith, to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's difficult.
Powerful stuff. And all of this despite his declining health in his later years.
Really?
According to the transcript, he continued to preach and serve others, even as his body began to fail him.
Incredible. Like, what fueled this guy?
It really is something. I mean, what kind of inner fire keeps someone going like that?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
It almost makes his final mission even more poignant. It took place in Rome at the Chiesa Nuova.
Okay.
Right next to the tomb of St. Philip Neri. Another iconic figure, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like he was passing the torch, to future generations of believers.
Wow, what a symbolic ending.
It really is. And then on December 28th, 1837, San Gaspar del Bufalo, he died peacefully, surrounded by his brethren.
That's a beautiful image.
It is, isn't it? And his story doesn't end there. He was beatified in 1904.
Okay.
And then canonized in 1954, cementing his legacy as this powerful intercessor and model of faith. It's quite a story, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a story about perseverance, about faith, about the enduring power of one person's commitment to their calling.
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What parts of his story resonate most with you?
It's a great question. What stands out to you as particularly compelling or thought-provoking?
That's a tough one. So much to think about. For me, it's how his experiences really shaped his ministry.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
The childhood illness,
right?
The miraculous healing, the Jesuit education, his mother's incredible faith. It all kind of led him to this path.
It's like all those things laid the groundwork for him, to stand so firm in his beliefs.
Exactly.
And then those years of exile and imprisonment. I mean, wow.
Right. It's hard to imagine going through that.
And coming out even stronger.
Totally. Those trials, they really forged his character, I think.
Oh, for sure.
And fueled his dedication to his mission. Think about it. He could have just taken the oath, lived a comfortable life.
Right.
But no, he chose to stand firm, even when it meant, hardship and suffering.
It makes you wonder where he found that strength, Was it purely faith?
It's hard to say from the transcript.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know his internal struggles.
Right.
But obviously his faith was central. Oh. But I think his personality played a role too, He seemed like a man of
strong convictions.
Yes. Yeah. Unwavering principles.
He was not going to budge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful message for us today, isn't it?
Oh, totally.
Like staying true to what you believe in.
Even when it's tough?
Even when it's easier to just go along, It
really makes you think.
It does. It makes you think about those times when you might have taken the easier path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It's way easier to just go along.
It is. But St. Gaspar reminds us that real faith often takes courage. Like being willing to actually stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
Even when it's not easy.
And you know what else I find interesting?
What's that?
This whole devotion to the precious blood of Christ.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something we hear a lot about these days,
That's true.
Why do you think it was so central to his mission?
That's a good question. I think you have to remember the historical context, right?
Okay.
Italy had just been through all this upheaval.
The French Revolution, Napoleon.
Exactly. Violence, uncertainty. The church was under attack. People were searching for something.
For meaning, for hope.
Yes. And St. Gaspar, he saw the precious blood as this powerful symbol of Christ's sacrifice, of God's love and mercy.
Even in the darkest of times.
Exactly. It was a message of healing.
And redemption.
Yes. For a society that had been through so much.
So he was trying to rekindle people's faith, show them that even amidst suffering, there's forgiveness, there's a new beginning.
That's exactly it.
And he didn't just preach about it, he lived it.
Right. He went out there.
Into the streets, into those bandit-infested areas.
It's remarkable, really.
It is. It's like, what possessed him to do that?
I think it was that belief in God's grace.
You mean that anyone can be redeemed?
Exactly. He didn't see those bandits as lost causes.
He saw their souls.
Yes. He saw souls in need of
redemption.
Yeah, and capable of change.
Yeah.
And his approach. Compassion, understanding, it worked.
It did. He brought a measure of peace to those areas, Some of the bandits even laid down their arms.
Really?
Yeah, and they reconciled with the church.
Wow. That's amazing.
It is. It's like one person really can make a difference.
It's true. Makes you think what we're capable of,
It does. But we can't forget there were setbacks, too.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. What did the transcript say?
Well, there were the political machinations, the false accusations, even censure from the church.
Oh, wow. It's like even saints aren't immune to those kinds of things.
It's human nature, I guess. Jealousy, power struggles. It gets messy.
For sure. But he never gave up, did he?
Nope. He kept pushing forward, trusting in God's plan.
His resilience is inspiring.
It is. So I guess the question is, what can we learn from all this?
Right. What can we, the everyday people, take away from St. Gaspar's life?
I mean, most of us aren't facing down emperors or converting bandits, right?
True. So how can his story inspire us in our own, maybe less dramatic lives?
That's a great question. It's easy to get swept up in the big stuff,
The big picture.
Yeah. Defying emperors, founding congregations. But how do those experiences help us today?
You're right. It's important to make that connection, to find the relevance for our own lives.
Exactly. So it's not about trying to, be St. Gaspar.
No, not at all.
It's more about understanding the principles he lived by.
Right, exactly. It's about those core values.
Okay.
Those beliefs that we're not willing to compromise on.
The non-negotiables.
Yes. Things we'll stand up for, even when it's hard.
Even when it's easier to just go along.
Exactly. So what were St. Gaspar's non-negotiables? What drove him?
Well, his famous quote comes to mind.
Yeah.
I cannot, I must not, I will not. Powerful stuff.
It is. And it wasn't just about defying authority.
Right.
It was about staying true to something bigger than himself.
His faith.
His faith, his conscience, his belief in God's love.
So for us, it might be about finding those moments where we're called to, I don't know, speak truth to power.
Yes.
Stand up for what's right.
Even when it's hard.
Even when everyone else is going the other way.
Absolutely. It doesn't have to be some grand gesture.
Right.
It could be speaking up against injustice.
Okay.
Defending someone who's being bullied. Choosing honesty, even when it's tempting to lie.
It's about those everyday acts of courage.
Yes. Showing that we're committed to what we believe in.
And there's also this huge theme of service in Saint Gaspar's life.
Oh, absolutely.
He dedicated his life to helping others, bringing hope to people who are really struggling.
He did.
Is that something we can really do in our own lives? I mean,
of course. We might not all be called to found religious orders.
Or travel to bandit territory.
Right. But we can all find ways to serve.
Okay, like how?
It could be volunteering at a local soup kitchen.
Okay.
Visiting a lonely neighbor. Just listening to someone who needs to talk.
It's about seeing the needs around us and doing something.
Exactly. Putting our faith into action, showing compassion.
And you said earlier that Saint Gaspar's story didn't end with his death, right?
It doesn't. His legacy lives on through the missionaries of the precious blood.
They're carrying on his work.
All over the world.
It's amazing to think that one person can have that kind of impact.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It reminds us that even ordinary people can do extraordinary things.
When they're driven by faith.
By courage.
And by a commitment to serving others. Well, I think that about wraps it up for our deep dive into the life of Saint Gaspar del Bufalo.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has. Intrigue, miracles, bandits, Napoleon, what's not to love.
It's a story that really stays with you.
It does, and I hope it inspires all of you out there to,
to live your faith.
To stand up for what you believe in.
And to make a difference in the world.
Even in small ways. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time, keep diving deep.